Bro, please. Ah, bro.
Walking for the rainy days, can't be here when it's different. I gave that bitch like all to me, she fed it to the fish. Your boyfriend Captain Saber, oh, he need to learn his limit. My bitch say I'm acting different, ain't shit different but a Yeah, they said they gon' do something, I doubt it. I'ma pull up on them, I know they ain't bout it. I just did a show, we had that bitch bounce.
Yo, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another YouTube video. So in today's video, I'm actually doing a part 2 to my TMOTTY video, how to edit like TMOTTY with FILMORA 9. Now, instead of just doing TMOTTY effects, I'm going to show you some stuff that you may have seen from Lmgk or NUMBY. And of course, I'm going to add some of my own twists on some of the effects. And yeah, so hope you guys do enjoy. Also, just a quick disclaimer, if my mic sounds a little weird or different, it's basically because my boom broke. If you don't know what that is, it essentially holds up your mic, and mine sadly broke. So yeah, basically you guys are gonna have to deal with this if it does sound weird for a couple days, I would say. I don't know. Yeah, with that being said, let's get right into it. Alright, so before you even start, make sure you pause the video and sync up your clip first. I already done that. I don't really need to show you that because your clip is not going to be the same as mine, and most likely your song is not going to be the same as mine. I'm actually going to be using Feel It by YSB Trill. If you don't know, I actually used this in one of my recent montages or my editing contest submission for Lmgk's editing contest, and yeah. Alright, so after you synced up your clips, basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to make 3 cuts. So our first cut is actually going to be 2 frames after the first frame of you shooting. So basically this frame right here, you want to go 2 frames after that, right here. And we're going to make our first cut right about there. And now we're going to make our second cut right about here. It is depending on how you like it. This is meant for slow-mo after we do all the effects and whatnot. Now for our next cut, we're actually going to use our first neon effect before we actually make the cut. And essentially this will be renamed to Monster Face, and make sure you download all the neon effects that I used in this video. The Google Drive link will be down below, so make sure you download the stuff that you want. And there also is a bunch of other effects that you can download as well. Alright, so after you've downloaded it, essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to drag it where the end of the neon effect is at our first cut right here. And this is how we're going to determine where our third cut is, and it's going to be right at the beginning. And as you can see, there is a black screen and you can't see, you know, the clip and whatnot. And if you watch my part 1 video, you know what you have to do, and essentially you just have to go to compositing and you put your blending mode on screen. Now I did actually learn this from one of my friends, Nurs. You can put it on lighten, but as you can see, the glow is not as good as screen. So I recommend using screen instead of lighten, or really any other thing that can you know, cut off all the black, and then there is just a neon effect. So what we're going to be doing for this whole slot right here is we're going to go to Effects tab, and we're going to put a filter. I like using Willow. You can actually turn down the opacity. It really depends on what you want. You can use this, or you can really use any filter, or you can turn down the opacity. Whatever you want, you can do it, and this method will work either way. So you just put Willow down. I'm going to turn Willow's alpha down to about 80 or so, 87. I don't think 100% looks that well. So now what we're going to do next is we're going to add dissolve. And we're just going to make this a little bit bigger, right about there maybe. And after you've done that, it should look something like this. And as you can see, that it doesn't look that well. It kind of looks plain. So what we're going to do to the neon effect to spice it up a little bit is we're actually going to double click on it, and we're going to go to motion. And you want to scroll down until you can find photo spin. And if you've seen my Lmgk submission, you will know that I actually used this in that little, you know, editing contest submission, highlight montage, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, so this is how you do it. A lot of people actually wanted to know how I did it, so yeah. And after you've done that, it should look like this. As you can tell, it is still bland, so what we're going to do next is we're actually going to go to our effects tab again, and we're going to search up chaos. And we're going to find chaos 2, and we're going to drag it down. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the first cut, and we're going to go 2 frames back. And we're going to turn off RGB separate, and we're going to turn it down to about 60, 59 for the frequency. And next up, we're going to add in glow, and you just search it up in the search tab, and you should find glow. And you just want to put it right at the cut. You don't want to have it 2 frames back. It will make sense in a little bit after you've seen what it does. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to add in slow-mo, so we're going to detach the audio so the audio doesn't mess up, and then we're going to put it on 0.50. Essentially, slow-mo is depending on what frames you get. I get 240, so 0.50 kind of looks the best for mine. If you say you have 144 hertz, I recommend probably using maybe, I don't know, 0.75. And if you have 60, then I recommend not really doing slow-mo. Personally, I don't think 60 frames is enough for good slow-mo. You may be able to turn it down to, like, I don't know, 90, but that's not really that good it's not really slow-mo, I guess. It's barely slow-mo, I guess. After you've done that, it should look something like this. Now we're just going to stretch out glow because, as you can tell, it kind of just turns off and it doesn't look that well. Now we're going to add in some audio effects just to make it sound better. I do actually have a Google Drive link, or another Google Drive link, that will have all my sound effects that I use. And yeah, so if you ever wondered how you can get my sound effects that I use, then make sure you just look in my description. There should be a Google Drive link with my editing SFX. So what we're going to do is we're going to go right at the beginning of our dissolve transition, and we're just going to go and hit a keyframe on the audio. We're going to go to the end of the dissolve transition, and we're going to do another keyframe, and this time we're going to actually turn down the keyframe to, it really depends on your song. I'm going to go 15. So basically what you're going to do next is you're going to make another keyframe 5 frames back from our first cut. Boom, and we're going to make another keyframe on the cut. And we're just going to turn this keyframe back up to 0. Then we're going to add in a swoosh. I usually like to use swoosh main for I guess the big bass drops. I don't really like using swoosh main on, I guess little bass drops and not really good clips. I don't know, I've always done it like that, but yeah. And now that you've done everything, it should look something like this. Alright, so I've already synced up my clip right here, so you want to sync up your second clip, so pause the video real quick so you can do that, and then unpause it and we can get right onto it. Alright, so after you synced up your clip, essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to make a freeze frame right about here. We're just going to cut it off, but before we do that, we're actually going to copy this video right here, so we're just going to copy it. You can just hit Control-C, and it'll automatically copy it. So now we're actually going to hit the cut button, and also before you make the cut, make sure that you are on this frame right here. Make sure you're not on this frame, because whenever we delete this part, this frame will be actually cut off, so we're actually going to be using this frame right here for the freeze frame. So make sure you do that. Now we're actually going to paste the video. Now we have that for later. So we're going to delete this right here, and we're actually going to make the freeze frame, so go to the frame, yep, right there. And now we're going to make a freeze frame. Essentially how you do that is just go to your normal speed thing, and it should say freeze frame right there. We're going to select freeze frame, make sure that none of that blue is there, and it should look like this. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to use this thing right here. I will be renaming this right here to YouTube buffering, so you guys can find it easier in the Google Drive. So essentially we're going to drag this down, and instead of using the green screen, there is actually a black part of this, and we're going to use this instead of the green, because I feel like the black actually works better than the green, especially on Filmora. I don't think the chroma key on Filmora is that good, I guess you could say. So yeah. Alright, so you know what you have to do. You just want to go to your compositing, and we're going to put on screen. And now what we're going to do next is we're actually going to go to the freeze frame and cut it off from the actual video. We're actually going to put the opacity down to around 50. And essentially why we're doing this is because if you ever had a video buffer, you know that the screen kind of goes darker than normal, or darker than it's supposed to be. And yeah. And now we're going to cut off our song, and we're going to delete it, and now you want to drag on your next song. my next song is going to be I Doubt It by J Portal. And now we have that there for later. Essentially what we're going to do is we're actually going to copy this part right here. We're going to paste it. I don't know why my Control V is not working. Normally if you just want to, you know, paste it down, you can hit Control V, but for some reason it's not working for me. And yeah, so now we're going to do reverse. Now we're going to find the same frame that has the buffering, which I'm pretty sure is about here. Yep, right about here is perfect. And essentially we're going to cut that. I'll delete this part, drag this over, and after you've done that, it should look like this. And now we're going to drag our clip from over here that we actually copied and pasted. And now we're just going to sync it up. And you also want to sync this up to the clip right here. So essentially after you've done that, it should look like this. Now, instead of doing the whole glow thing, we're just actually going to make one cut. Yo, it's Futures T-Man here. So while making this video, I somehow lost my brain. And essentially, we're not going to make one cut. We're actually going to make 3. I don't know why I said 1, but I did. So, yeah, I just want to let you guys know that. Which is right about here. This is going to be for slow-mo later on, so we're just going to do that right about now. So let's just detach the audio. We're going to do slow-mo. We're going to do 0.5. Like I said, it is depending on your frame rate, so make sure that does match your frame rate and not mine. And now I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the, it kind of looks like a walrus thing, like a walrus. Is that how you say it? Walrus? Walrus? Yeah. We're going to use these little horn things. I don't know what they're called. Right about there. And you know what you have to do, put down screen for this. And essentially what we're going to do is you're going to cut right about now. Instead of cutting it right here, I think we're going to cut it right here, because I actually worked on a concept for this earlier and it didn't look that good whenever I cut it right about there. So essentially, instead of going to effects and using willow or anything like that, we're actually going to do opacity. We're going to turn this down to around 0.5, 0.50, something like that. And now we have to make a cut right about here. Probably should have done that earlier. So remember, 2 frames after the first frame of you shooting. And then we're going to delete, or we're actually going to go to the settings, turn that back up to 100. And now we're going to add dissolve. Now we're going to add in chaos. Remember, 2 frames back, so 1, 2, boom. RGB separate, 60. And now I think we're actually gonna use the walrus, or put the walrus back a little bit. Didn't look that good, and yeah, that's it. And that's pretty much it. So after you've done everything, it should look something like this. Alright, so that's the end of this video. I hope you guys did enjoy, and before I let you guys go, I just wanted to say I am going to be changing up my upload schedule. I will be posting on the same days that I usually do, which is Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, but the times will be different. From now on, since of school starting, I kind of don't have a lot of time to edit my videos and have them out at 2 p.m. because school does end at 2 p.m. for me. So essentially what's going to be happening from now on, I'm actually going to be posting on weekdays at 5 p.m. and then on Saturday it will be at 2 p.m. as normal. So hope you guys did enjoy it. I'll see you guys in the next one.
I know that we got it, I might even guarantee it. When she tied me up and turned me right into a paraplegic pair of shoes. I got the NB on them, make you stare and see them. We ain't paying for them, now you ought to know I'm wearing free ones. When you go to me, I gotta know, is there a reason it was so abrupt? I kinda had to think that there would be one. Conversations out of state, they asking where